Hello, everyone. Welcome to Donna's Happy Hour. Today, I have the great pleasure of introducing you to Chris Bolger, who, if you've been following my show, has been on my show in the past. He's an amazing artist, songwriter, and just probably one of the most talented people I know. So, you may have also noticed that my surroundings are a little different. I am sitting in a teepee in Pine Island, New York, which is located near Warwick, New York, if you're familiar with that area. And this land in Pine Island used to have American Indians on it, and some of them were the Lenape, the Munsee, the Iroquois, and actually, believe it or not, in this area, they really didn't live in teepees. They lived in what they called longhouses, which was kind of like, almost like a carport, a half moon. And the reason, probably, which I will have to do more research on, is because you could fit more people in the longhouse. So actual families, multiple families would live in them, as opposed to obviously the TPU could probably only fit one family. So with no further ado, grab your drinks, whatever they may be, because I'm hoping you'll spend the next hour with me. So everyone, I would like to introduce you to Chris Bolger.
Hello.
Chris, thank you again for joining me.
Oh, yeah. Always a pleasure.
Chris was kind enough in our very first season, I believe it was, to perform, but also to do a skit with Madame du Voodoo. So you will not be doing that.
No, not today.
You will not be seeing Madame
No
du
voodoo
Voodoo
today.
today. No voodoo today. Chris is going to be playing some of his original music. So, Chris, take it away.
Play something? Okay. I saw him lying there on the bed. Old memories stirring inside his head. The little girl that he once knew is all grown up and now she's you. Fuzzy has to stay behind and wait. Time flies and takes away our youth. Fuzzy Bear is the living proof. Alive although inanimate, lived on the love that you showered on him. He shows his age, but underneath his skin, Fuzzy's birthdays came and went. Every few weeks or so they'd be back again. Mom and you would bake a cake and we would sing happy birthday. Now you're back at school again. Count the days until Thanksgiving. Fuzzy will wait there dutifully. Guard your room till you return here. 'Cause one good eye will watch over your domain. Fuzzy's birthdays came and went. Every few weeks or so they'd be back again. Mom and you
So tell me a little bit about that song. That was an original song.
Yes.
And I know, is that from your first CD?
No, actually, the only way
Okay.
that's around, that's
Okay.
available, is I play in the band The Outliers, although we haven't been doing much since COVID, of course, like
Right.
everybody else. And so there is a recording of it that we made at Mozart's studio, the band playing live, The Outliers.
Okay.
And that's on. You can find that through SoundCloud through the Outliers Facebook page.
Okay. And the name of that song is
Fuzzy's Birthday.
Fuzzy's Birthday. Now,
Who's Fuzzy?
who's Fuzzy?
That's the obvious question.
And whose birthday?
Well,
Fuzzy's birthday. I guess.
Okay, when my daughter Laura was little,
Okay.
every once in a while she had a little teddy bear named Fuzzy, and every once in a while she'd just pipe up, "It's Fuzzy's birthday," which meant that we had to make a birthday cake for Fuzzy, and her and her mom would go into the kitchen and they'd make Fuzzy a birthday cake.
Oh,
And
no.
Fuzzy would have a birthday every 4 or 5 weeks,
It's when they wanted obviously a cake. Somebody
when
somebody
Laura
was
wanted a
hungry.
cake, it was Fuzzy's birthday.
It was
Yeah.
Fuzzy's birthday.
So and her mom would oblige.
Oh, how cute! Oh, that's
So
adorable.
and Fuzzy, she really loved that bear raw. I mean that,
no kidding.
eventually, she was away at school, and I walked into her bedroom, and there's Fuzzy lying on the bed, and like all the fuzz is rubbed off of him at this point. And at one point, he lost one of his eyes, the little button eyes, One of
Right.
the eyes was gone. And he was really very sad looking.
Right.
And eventually, a dog got at Fuzzy and took
no.
the other eye.
Oh, geez.
I think she made new eyes for him. She still has them, But it's funny. I think he nearly ripped off one of the legs.
Oh, jeez. Oh, wow. So Fuzzy wound up.
Fuzzy had a rough life, yeah. But
Yeah.
Fuzzy, he's still around. He's got.
Is he really?
He got his leg fixed, and I don't know what she did about
kidding.
the eyes. I don't know if she put new buttons
Oh,
there.
how cute. I
But
was
yeah, she
going to
still has
wonder.
them.
Oh, my
yeah.
gosh. Oh, that's fantastic. I just wanted to tell the people that we actually are practicing safety precautions here. You may notice that the camera angles are going to be basically Chris and then me and Chris and me, and that's because we are staying 6 feet apart.
Oh yeah.
So
Got to do it.
yeah, I mean, you have to do it. It is what
Unfortunately,
it is.
yeah, but I mean,
unfortunately, yeah. And I hope everybody has been well and is doing well. So, all right. So let's get back to, now that I said my little. So, what are you going to play for us next?
Okay.
Now, because I know you've been working on a new CD.
The problem with writing new material is you don't have a chance to rehearse it.
Right.
So,
right.
But yeah, I am working on some new. I have a huge backlog of songs, and
You're always working on something new.
Well, whether or not I mean to, it's just kind of, Tom Waits has a comment about that.
Okay.
That you write these songs and they kind of lay around your house. They're kind of like unwanted guests, and they drink your beer, and and that's kind of it. They every once in a while, because I'll copy the stuff onto CD or I'll have it on my iPad.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, I didn't do anything with that. Yeah, I really got to do something with that.
Right.
There's a new song that I actually did get back into the studio and recorded.
Okay.
And it's called Get My Wheels, and it's, I wrote it before COVID really had kicked in, but it kind of it's that thing of just being antsy and wanting to get out. And that's, I think, something people can really relate to right now.
Isn't it true? Yeah.
When I get my wheels, and it's one of those things. Sooner or later, we're all going to be free again, I hope.
Right.
And we're going to get our wheels, and we're going to go out and do the things that we love doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know about you, but since March, I really have not been out very much.
Right. Even when you are, it's different. It is
different. It is different.
It's even weird. Like I reconnected with a couple of friends, that I hadn't seen much really at all since COVID began.
Right.
And and I work at my day job. I work at a psychiatric hospital.
That's
so
what
I'm
I was
kinda-
going to ask you
so-
about, what you did during the day. You work at I did not know that.
Yeah, I'm an electrician there.
Are
so
you
I don't,
really?
Yes.
Oh.
So I'm not a direct care person or a nurse, and they have to
Right.
be with, some of the patients do get sick. I mean, we had a
Right.
little outbreak there back, months ago.
Right.
But anyway, that's, I have to be at work,
Right.
and there is some danger there, and we take precautions.
Right.
We have gloves, we wear masks every day, and
Right.
especially when you go into the wards, because you don't know who's going to be there or what they've touched or anything.
Right.
Because it's a psych hospital, there's
Right.
multiple doors that just to get in and out. And every time you're touching a door handle, even if you've
Right.
got gloves on,
It's yeah. Yeah.
it could be picking it up anywhere.
Right.
And I mean, they
Right.
do try and they clean the
Sanitize and
doorknobs
clean it,
all the time.
right.
They're sanitizing all the time, but nothing's
Right.
bulletproof.
No, it's not. No.
and-
Well, my husband, he's in a essential business
Yeah,
as
so am
well.
I.
And so the same thing, there's so many precautions that you can take. Unfortunately, sometimes, it slips by. But the good news,
Right.
which I did hear, is that, Pfizer supposedly
closing in on a
seems to be
vaccine.
closing in on a vaccine.
Yeah.
So let's keep our fingers
So
crossed.
that's something to be
everybody.
happy about.
It
Here's
is
a glass.
It is. There you go, with nothing in it.
Here's the Pfizer. Yeah, I mean, sooner or later, and there's that whole thing of maybe we'll develop herd immunity to it, and it's not all bleak. And the other thing, which I really have a thing about, is this: everybody is behaving as if this is unprecedented. This has happened before.
Oh, absolutely.
Many
right.
times, and we've, as a species, we've managed to get through it.
Right.
So we will
right.
get through this one.
Right. I mean, and you're right. We've just never lived.
Right. We personally
we
haven't had to
personally
deal
haven't
with,
had to
Spanish
deal
flu
with this.
was huge.
Right. Right.
And go back,
Right.
Black Plague.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
So these things have happened before,
Right.
and it's not. And
And it's not fun,
No.
obviously. But
even
you know
the
what?
flu takes a lot of people out.
Exactly.
And that's an annual thing, pretty
Exactly.
much.
So it's one of those things. It's not fun, but it's part of life. It's
Yes,
part
it
of
is.
it really is. And
Absolutely.
I have to say that I really wasn't, I guess, all that upset, by having the changes that took place in my life,
Right.
Because it is what it is. And, so yeah, you gotta go with the punches.
Oh,
And this
absolutely.
is a punch,
Right.
there's no doubt. And I feel for all the people that have lost jobs, that aren't
Well,
able to
also
work,
that
or
have lost friends
or
and
lost
family.
friends, right, and family.
You
Yes,
know,
it's
no joke.
It is no joke. It is no joke, and that's why we are actually, a lot of people aren't even getting to do shows anymore
Oh, no.
because of this. And I've had to change the way I do my show because of it. But
I have musician friends who have not played at all publicly
right.
since March.
Yes. Yes.
And
that's
these
right.
are people, I like, as you know now, I have a day job,
right.
so I have a source of income.
Right.
But if you work in restaurants or if you work in, bars,
Right.
you're up the creek.
Right. There's, I mean, unfortunately, there's many people that, are going for round 2, obviously, because
Yep.
of the cases increasing.
Sure.
And my heart goes out to them because,
Oh, absolutely.
there's nothing worse than not being able to put food on the table
Yeah.
for your children.
It's an awful feeling.
Awful feeling, right? Or to worry about, am I going to be able to pay the electric bill? Am I going to be able to pay my mortgage?
Right.
But again, everybody, let's
Hang in there and we'll,
keep our fingers crossed, and they'll get the vaccines out, and this hopefully will be behind us.
One of the
again.
things, for a while I was doing little little basement concerts.
I did see those. I did see you doing those.
I'd record tracks, backing tracks, and play and sing along with them and that kind of thing. It was all me, but
Right.
down in my little basement studio there. But one of the things I always made a point of at the end is, okay, we can't be together like we're used to being together.
Right.
It doesn't hurt to get, if you know somebody who's, especially people who are really locked down and
Right.
have to be, older people who really can't risk being out, or people who are immune compromised.
Right.
Call them up. It doesn't hurt to make a phone call, or still have people that have time at home. Let's get back to writing some letters.
Exactly.
Or my thing was I did my little concerts, and it was funny because I was doing them live, and I'd get people that were responding. Of course, I'm playing, but I'd see the little things coming in. So and so is listening and whatever.
Right.
And then when I was done, I'd try and respond to as many of them as I could.
As you could, right.
And I reconnected with 3 different people from high school days.
Oh,
as
wow.
a result of it.
Oh my gosh.
And and two of them, actually all 3 of them in their own ways were going through rough times.
Right.
And so it was nice, this was something that they were enjoying,
Sure.
getting back in touch with an old friend, and it was a diversion for them.
Right.
And it was nice for me to see how, be back in touch with these people.
Right. There's many ways, that you can enjoy the time, because as I said, people are going to be unemployed, and then you can enjoy the time and utilize it. Like, as a matter of fact, a friend of mine was saying that she used to embroider. So she started embroidering again,
Guitar sales are through the roof.
Are they really?
Guitars have been selling like crazy because either people who used to play and maybe got away from it because working or whatever, or people who always wanted to do it, so they're it's a good hobby for you. You're locked in the house, you've got nothing to do.
Right, exactly. Well, let's get back to that. So,
Okay.
What song are you gonna sing? Let us know the name of it.
Okay. Well, the last one, was Fuzzy's birthday. This is one that is off the CD. Okay.
Okay. Is this
I'm conflicted.
which CD?
What?
Yeah, which CD?
This is off of No Promises.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I guess this is a song for all you insomniacs.
That would be me.
Maybe I just think too much. Maybe I'm not smart enough to bother trying to waste my time to find an answer. Maybe you are right to say go to sleep. Tomorrow is another day. Don't lecture me. Stupid concepts and conjecture. Maybe I just can't help it. The noise in my mind won't let me rest. Button pushed won't let me stop until an answer is found, or my spring winds down. And maybe that's just the way I'll always be. This page is 3/4 full. I know you still don't have a clue what's on my mind, what I'm trying to unravel. Maybe it's not right or wrong. Lights are on, no one's ever coming home. I'll take my time and choose my lines in psychobabble. Maybe I just can't help it. The noise in my mind won't let me rest.
have to tell you, and I want to tell the audience this, that this CD that he did, there is not one song on there that I don't love. I
Wow.
absolutely love that CD. I love every song,
Aw.
and I actually I haven't heard any of your new stuff.
Well, there's new stuff and there's old stuff and there's in between stuff.
In between.
I don't know if you're at all aware of the Coots, but the Coots is a band that I played with. We started playing right around 2001, and I was with them, and we're still friends. I haven't played a gig with them in about 4 years now.
Okay.
But Glenn Taylor, who's the kind of brains behind the Coots, and they've played here at Blue Arrow.
Oh, have they?
Yes, they have.
Oh, okay.
And but Glenn, who's a good friend, he has done 2 albums of Coots. He owns a recording studio in North Caldwell called
Okay.
Taylor Made, and he did an album of original music by the Coots, and then he did another kind of like a live kind of record of covers. But
Okay.
but I wrote 4 songs for the Coots album,
Oh.
and they're on there. So if you're
Okay.
curious and you want to backtrack,
Yeah, yes.
that album is called The Endless Bus Tour, and I wrote. There's one of the guys who plays with the Coots is a guy named Joe Alexander, and he's a dear friend and a lovely human being. Great family.
Oh, no
4 kids.
kidding.
He's a big guy. He's bigger than me, and he's got some weight on me too. And his wife is this little bit of a thing, and she's an absolutely adorable couple, and they have 4 kids. Now they're grandparents already.
Oh, wow.
And but anyway, Joe is such an upstanding guy. He doesn't write much, and I wanted to write a song for him to do on the Coots record. And the
Okay.
song's called "Same as You," but of course it had to be in character for Joe.
Right.
So I think I may get to that in a bit.
Oh, I'm
But,
gonna have to definitely check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
because
but it's got some good songs on it, and there's 3 that I sing that are on there, and there's lots of other good.
Lots of
It's a
other.
good record, yeah.
Oh, interesting. Oh, good. I'm glad you told me about it because no, I
Yeah.
didn't. And I do want to tell the audience that we are at Blue Arrow in Pine
Yes.
Island, New York.
We sure are.
And anybody, if you're got nothing to do one Sunday or Saturday or any time, just come on down to Blue Arrow. There is a obviously teepees that you can check out. There's a dinosaur area.
And
There's
there's the animals. You can come
yes,
see
and he
them.
has the rescue animals that you can see. There is actually pumpkin picking, I think, going on there too.
I would think we're probably at the end
They're
of that
probably
now.
end of that, yes.
But they also have the big outdoor pavilion, which is,
Yes.
you can social distance there, and but
Right.
it's open enough. But they've got heaters, so
They
this isn't
do.
too bad.
That's right.
It's a lot. All these restaurants and bars they're trying to have to improvise things, and a lot of them are putting up tents. This is a much more permanent structure, and I think
Right.
gives you a little more protection from the weather
It
than you would
does.
get in
It
most
does.
places.
Yes.
So hopefully it'll go later into the
Right.
season.
Into the sea.
Because-
He actually, there is a fireplace there too.
Oh yeah.
Which is nice. And as Chris said, there are the outdoor heaters. They do have food trucks, but they also have entertainment, and they have several, like usually at
I'll be
least 2
playing here
bands.
with
Right,
Felix and the
he's gonna
Cats.
be
We've been doing Sunday afternoons,
right.
so it's great.
But the other thing too is Blue Arrow is a nonprofit horse rescue and animal rescue. So if, let's say, you ever come across an animal that needs rescuing, you could give them a call and see if they can't take the animal, they may be able to help you, find a place that could take, whether it be dog, cat, horse, donkey.
Well, there's all
Anything.
sorts of stuff here.
There is
all
all
sorts of
sorts.
critters.
I think they have do they have llama or emu?
Alpacas.
Alpacas. Okay.
And they have miniature horses.
I saw that. They
And
do.
they have cows.
They have cows now.
and
They have sheep.
Sheep, and they have
Yeah.
goats.
He's got quite a.
So it's very, without going too far.
Right.
It is very family friendly.
Yes,
We'll leave
it
at
is. Leave it at that. Okay. So I do want to go into, I asked Chris because I don't know, for me, as let's say somebody that, loves a particular artist,
that. Right.
you like to know more than just their songs, and about them. You like to know the the personal stuff or things like that.
Sure.
So I did ask Chris to bring along some photos of himself when he was
Oh, yeah.
younger. Just to give you an idea. And I'm going to guess that, like, you obviously were musically inclined, what, since...
Before I ever picked up a guitar or played with any instruments, I was fascinated with record players.
Okay.
And I mean, to me, as a little kid, like 2 years old,
Right.
this thing spins around and music comes out.
Right.
And that was like magic, and I was fascinated with them and was really obsessive with it. And I used to, back then, they'd have junk day and there'd be people with piles of
Right.
stuff out in front of their houses. And so I'd go scouting through I'd be hauling home old record players. At one point, I think I had like 15 of them down in the basement.
Oh my God! Now, do you still have them?
I do have a couple of old ones. As a matter of fact, I just recently got a hold of a record cutter, which before people had tape recorders, there was a time when people would actually make home recordings on records.
Right.
Not many people had them, but
Right.
they did exist, because, before tape, which basically came after World War II,
Right.
records was what anybody had.
Right.
And there were wire recorders and there were disc recorders.
We have we have a wire recorder.
Right.
That's very insane. That's really amazing.
Right.
And
A little piece of like copper wire kind of looking.
exactly.
Like that.
And we actually have a recording of my father-in-law
Right.
telling a bedtime story, because my
Sure.
husband is one of 9, to the kids.
Sure.
It's a great
thing to have.
It's a great thing to have. Yeah.
It's like looking at really old, brown and white photos and that kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a window into the past,
It
and it's
is.
the past as it's happening in the case of recordings.
Right. Right.
Home recordings. But there's an episode of The Honeymooners where Ralph has had kind of a spat with his mother-in-law.
Okay.
He gets a hold of a disc recorder, very much like the one that I just acquired.
Okay.
And he starts, explaining, I lose my temper, and then he starts, just railing on her all over again on the record. He says, "You're a blabbermouth," But this is what they had,
Right.
before most people had tape recorders, which not a lot of people even always had them.
Right.
But this is a little, you could cut your own little discs and listen to them back. And,
Oh my gosh.
and this is one of those, and
Wow.
I'm fascinated with that stuff. I still am.
Well, I guess, and especially so did you go to school for electronics?
Yeah, well, I studied, I went to the Institute of Audio Research to learn about multi-track recording. Ultimately, okay, so from records, actually for a while I had a big thing with electric trains too. But once I once I got into playing guitar, I
Right.
sold my trains to buy guitars.
Oh, did you?
I sure did. I had a lot.
It was worth it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess so. Although it would be nice to have them again.
Yes,
but,
yeah.
You never want to let go of your childhood.
No, you
things,
don't. You're right.
But I had, I started buying guitars and I became really obsessed with it. I got a good electric guitar eventually, and then I bought an acoustic guitar. I bought a Gibson J200, which was the top of the line. I worked as a busboy for $1 an hour, and the guitar cost $600.
Wow.
This is back in like '73, I guess.
Oh
or
my
72.
gosh! Right.
And $600
Wow, that's a lot of money.
for a kid to save up.
bet.
Yeah, but I was, once I was hooked, I was hooked.
Wow.
And unfortunately, that guitar got stolen.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, when I was going to Berkeley.
Oh, how
It was stolen out of my,
heartbreaking.
dorm room.
Oh.
That's what's kind of one of the things that set me on the course of collecting guitars.
Right,
Which
right,
is terrible.
right. So how many guitars do you have now?
We don't talk about that.
Yeah. Okay.
A lot.
Do you hide a lot of them?
No,
Honey, I've had this
how do you hide a
forever.
guitar? You know, it's like,
Oh, you'd be surprised.
no, it's not like hiding liquor bottles or something. You can put them in a cabinet
a
somewhere.
little somewhere.
You know.
Yeah, that's
But
funny.
yeah, they're out and about, and
Wow. All right. Well, I'm gonna ask you to play another song.
Okay. Now this one, I'll have to apologize in advance. This is one of the songs off the Coots record.
Okay.
The one that I didn't sing, that's kind of why I mentioned Joe.
Okay.
This is one that I wrote for Joe, and I never play this, but but I kind of like it. It's just a nice little pop song.
Okay.
Everybody's talking about the way you tore her down, and I for one was glad to hear she finally threw you out. You've been fooling around on her long as I can recall. Now you're getting yours. How does it feel to take the fall? Now you wanna lay the blame anywhere you can. Wanted to be the bad boy, so come on, take it like a man. I'm not the same as you. I won't do those things that make her blue. I'm not the same as you. Don't give me that wounded look, and don't you try to blame me, 'cause I saw my opportunity. You left the door wide open, 'cause you thought that she would never leave you. She felt free because you acted like you didn't care. You were nowhere to be found when she needed someone there. Now you act like we're the ones who laughed you in the back. But your friends all got your number. Yeah, we've all seen your laugh. And I'm not the same as you. I won't do those things that make her blue. I'm not the same as you. Don't give me that wounded look.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
So tell me about, because I noticed the wounded look.
The source of that, because there's a bad assumption that people make for songwriters, and that's that everything's autobiographical. Some things are, and
Right.
I guess it's like any, if you're an artist painting a painting, you can't help but put a little of yourself
Of
in the
self
painting
into
because
it.
it's you doing the painting, so it's your
Absolutely.
perceptions.
Right.
But there were two things going on simultaneously to two different sets of friends of mine at that time.
Okay.
One was a friend of mine, somebody that I knew quite well, and he had been cheating on his girlfriend, and her girlfriends kind of like finally were chiding her and saying, you got to start looking elsewhere. This guy isn't doing the right thing. So of course then he's all bent out of shape because his girl is leaving him when, obviously he deserved it. It's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
well, you yourself, you didn't do the right thing when you should have, and now you're all bent out of shape because you didn't. So that was one thing that kind of inspired. And at the same time, from the flip side of that, I had another friend, a woman that I knew, and she also had a boyfriend who just negligent and and that kind of thing, and not necessarily cheating on her or anything.
Right.
But she had met a guy on an airplane, and he was like a real gentleman, and she was like, should I, shouldn't I, you know?
Right.
So it kind of was those two things happening around the same time that,
Okay.
you know, I'm sitting back as an observer and just saying, well, this is what happens, you know?
Right, right. Well,
And
you
it
know,
does.
and it does. Yeah, it's funny because I was just watching episodes of The Sopranos, and
Uh-huh.
when you said that about him cheating on his girlfriend, you know,
Right.
and you know, what do you expect? Soon, you know,
Yeah.
there's going to be repercussions somewhere down the line. You would think, you know.
Well,
but,
especially if it's bad enough if it just happens somewhere along the line. But if it's pathological,
yeah,
kind of, you know.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, it won't happen again. Well, who's this one? Well, no, well, it didn't mean anything to me.
Yeah,
well,
right.
Well, who's that one? You know.
Yeah, exactly. So do you have the photos with you? Let's get those.
I have them. They are in the car.
They are in the car. So what I want to do
Okay.
is just take the audience back a little bit.
Oh boy.
Now this is in no.
That's way back.
This one is way back, and this is in no particular order because, and Chris may have to do some explaining of some of these.
I got some
But
explaining to do.
this one is.
I know. It's like Norman Rockwell, right?
I just love this shot. And obviously you have a camera in your hands
Right.
here.
There used to be a place around the corner from me called Sickles Photo Reporting.
Okay.
And they would do stuff for like industrial magazines and, you know, pictures of like, you know, loading machines and stuff like that. Anyway, the guy who worked there, his name was Frank. And just, you know, I used to hang around there sometimes, go up to the candy store and maybe pop in there, probably with too much
Way too
sugar in
much.
me, and bug them all.
Now this
But-
is obviously before you started picking up a guitar.
Right. That's
Okay.
would be well before I ever
Well
played.
before you-
I was probably about 8 years old there.
Okay.
Maybe
And
7.
when did you first start? When did you pick up the guitar? How old were you then?
When the Beatles hit, my older brother and sister both got guitars probably the following
Okay.
Christmas, maybe
Okay.
65. So there were guitars around the house,
Okay.
but I didn't play.
Okay.
But I wanted to, you know, I was fascinated with it,
Right.
you know. And I kind of remember puttering around, and my brother, you know, kind of gave it up real quick, and so I kind of commandeered his guitar, but I didn't know what to do with it.
Right,
You know,
right.
I was, you know, 5 or something, or 6 or 7, you know. I
Oh
had no
wow.
idea.
Okay.
But then I bought a guitar, my first guitar, when I was about 12.
Wow. That's young.
And yeah, kind of, you know, but I didn't really have any direction with it.
Right.
But I had one and I started learning how to play. But my sister had stuck with it, my sister
Right.
Loretta.
Uh-huh.
And she was already, you know, playing at coffee houses, and she'd take me along with her. So she was very nurturing.
Right.
And
right.
and by the time I was 15, I was starting to play in front of people, you know, playing guitar and singing, and you know, probably terrible, but you know, that gave me the
Right.
you know, the idea of performing and learning how to play in front of people.
Right.
You know.
Right. And now you said your sister. Does she do?
She's still at it.
She's still at it.
She
Wow.
really got away from it for a long time while she was working.
Okay.
And it's funny, I commandeered one of her guitars for a while because she wasn't using it, but I got it fixed up really nice, and I got it back to her when she retired and wanted to start playing again.
Oh, that's great.
And yeah, so she still has that. And her husband, Fred, also plays. So they
Now,
play together.
Was she ever here and she sang?
She's
she sings,
been up
right?
here, yes.
Yes, yeah.
She,
that's what, okay.
Yeah, she's, you know, they have her and her husband, Fred, and a friend of theirs, they have a little trio called Rising Smoke.
Oh, neat.
And they mostly play like retirement communities and things like that. You know, they kind of, you know, acoustic kind of thing.
Right, right.
And yeah, so she's at it.
Oh, that's great. I love. Unfortunately, neither Tim or I play like per se a guitar. Tim actually bought a guitar
Uh-huh.
and then just never really
Right.
followed
That
up
happens
on it.
a lot.
I actually bought a cajon
Right.
because
I remember that.
yeah, and I still play it. You know,
Yeah.
I play it, especially now that since March. You know,
Right.
here's another one of
Yeah, that's
Chris.
way back. That was taken by my friend Michael
Okay.
in Tosca, and I'm probably 17 or 18, maybe 18 at that point.
Okay. All right. Wow.
And that's at South Mountain Reservation by what used to be the deer paddock.
South Mountain. I'm not
That's
familiar.
it's kind of South Orange.
Oh, is it?
New
Okay.
Jersey.
Okay.
And they had a fenced off area where the deer were.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Oh, wow. And now, is this when you met? All right, let's. I'm just trying to figure this one out here a little bit.
That's way back. I didn't know anybody back then.
Oh, you didn't? Okay, so you didn't know, all right. And then this is your first gig or
First gig, I had a
and
band
first band.
in high school called Old Friends, and that is the first time that we ever played. We played at the Maplewood Library.
Oh,
I think we got paid $15.
Oh,
or something.
wow.
But who cares?
Oh,
You know,
that's
it's great.
great. That's great. Well, you got to start somewhere, right?
Absolutely.
And that
And I,
is
of course, I have my back
fantastic.
to the, or I'm
To
turning
the-
away from it.
well,
That's
yeah.
that's my old J200 guitar too.
Oh, really? Is that?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. You don't want to hear that
I'd love
story.
to have that one.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah, well, it happens.
Yeah, it does, unfortunately. And then
Somebody figured they deserved it more than I did.
and let's hope they used it well.
No, I wouldn't
Yeah.
count it.
No, I wouldn't either. Oh, this is adorable. I love this one. This is like my favorite. And this is with his kitty cat, his
Yeah,
little kitten,
my little Josie.
his little Josie. I don't know if you can see that. All right. So anyway, let's have Chris, if you want to do the honors and sing.
All right. Well, let's see.
You can do anything from No Promises, because that, like I said, every one of those.
Something I can't put my finger on. It comes and goes, but from where I can't really say. It's here and gone, an hour, a week, or day. Mysterious little bird, I watch her fly away, and if I tried to hold her down, put her in a cage, train her to do tricks for me, she'd surely fly away. 'Cause it's just not in her nature to be anything but free. And I'll try hard to remember that she made no promises to me. She doesn't have a name, at least not one she'll tell. She gives me clues and points the way, but lets me go myself. She won't reveal her reasons or how she picks the hour to visit herself on me. She keeps her secrets to herself, and if I tried to hold her down and put her in a cage, train her to do tricks for me, she'd surely fly away. 'Cause it's just not in her nature to be anything but free. And I'll try hard to remember that she made no promises to me.
to tell you, you know, it's so funny. When Chris gave me his CD, I listened to that thing. You know, like when I loved the Beatles, you know, you just listen to that album over and over and over again. When you gave me your CD, I did the same thing because I
Wow.
love it. And so I know practically most of the words to all of your songs.
Wow.
But what's so funny is that I'm sitting here and I want to sing along, but then I remember I'm mic'd up. You don't want to hear that. But anyway, I did want to show, and if I'm not mistaken,
Right.
these are all the fellows that played on. Is that who played
That's
on there?
three of those guys did. Yes.
Okay.
Steve Gechter, and
Which is
who's the guy on the left.
okay.
He played some of the keyboards on No Promises. Graham Maybe, who's all the way on the right and kind of leaning over me there,
Oh, right there. Okay.
was the bass player on the album.
Okay.
Dennis Dyken, who's the drummer for the Smithereens, he's the guy in the back, kind of right behind me.
Okay.
And this is actually all of us playing with a guy named John Hawken, who's a phenomenal keyboard player with a really great history. Was part of the British invasion. He was in a band called the
wow.
Nashville Teens, and they did Tobacco Road, which was a big hit for them.
Oh, wow.
And then he went on to be with Spooky Tooth and the Strawbs and the original lineup of Renaissance. He really got around. He was
Wow.
like one of the, really major keyboard players from the British invasion.
Oh,
yeah.
interesting.
And he lives
Oh,
in
wow.
Central Jersey.
Oh, really?
He's
No
still
kidding.
around. Yeah, I went to see him
Wow.
play a little over a year ago, I guess, and he still sounds phenomenal. Great
Wow.
and great guy too.
Wow.
Very, very pleasant company.
Company. Ah, that's not, and you know what I did want to show, if
that?
I can find it, is, and I know it's here. This one here. Now, this picture here is of Chris, and you can kind of give the background.
That's Andy White. We did a show actually with Dennis. Dennis had a group for a while called Bell Sound, where he was doing a lot of music that he wrote. Dennis Dyken from the Smithereens, and we did a show at the Morris Museum where we were really spotlighting a lot of rock bands from New Jersey. And Andy White lived in I think Caldwell.
Okay.
But he's originally from Scotland.
Oh,
And
really?
He used to teach drumming at the Shillelagh Club to their pipe and drum
Oh,
people.
wow. Oh.
And but he was the session drummer who played on Love Me Do,
Love
and he
Me
also
Do.
played with I don't know if he did the recording, but I know he played on It's Not Unusual.
Okay.
Tom Jones.
Right.
I think he might be on the studio recording of that. And he also played, I think, on Downtown.
Oh,
for
wow.
Petula
No
Clark. He was an
kidding.
in-demand
wow.
session drummer, of that era.
Right.
And he's probably on a lot of other British Invasion records. It was not an uncommon thing for, it's actually what happened with the Beatles initially, to bring in a really professional drummer to play with these young groups to keep them in time.
Interesting. Okay.
yeah.
All right.
So,
oh, wow.
there's another guy from that era named Bobby Graham who played on a lot of stuff. He played on
Right.
all the
That
Kinks
name
records.
I'm familiar with.
Right, but
Interesting.
Andy White,
Wow.
was-
Wow.
so he
And
lived
Love Me
locally,
Do is the Beatles.
Right.
If anybody
Right.
is wondering, Love Me Do.
Yeah.
Wow.
We did a couple of other songs at the session. I
Uh-huh.
think we did P.S. I Love You and
Oh, wow.
something else. But yeah, but there's
Wow.
there's two released versions of Love Me Do, and I think it's on Love Me Do, and one of them has tambourine, and one of them doesn't.
Okay.
The one that doesn't have tambourine is Ringo on drums, and the one that has tambourine is Ringo on tambourine.
Oh, really? Oh, interesting. Oh, wow. Now let me ask
What
you
a
this.
calling card!
And I don't know if this is something that you want to answer. You don't have
No,
to.
that's okay.
But who would you say is your all-time favorite drummer?
All time. Well, I have
Or
a particular
who
bias
right,
because
okay.
I've worked a lot with Dennis Dyken, and he is wonderful to work with. That's why he's on. He's a dear friend.
Okay.
But I mean, there is a picture in there. I mentioned Hal Blaine. A lot of
Right.
great,
Let me see if
really great drummers have cited him as being
No, that's not.
That's Larry Harkey.
Okay.
And Chris Briefeld with of the Beatles with
Okay.
the tickets in front of his face.
Yeah.
There's a picture of me with one guy, and that one
Okay.
guy is Hal Blaine when he was here playing in New Jersey, and Dennis took me to see him play.
Okay.
And we got a picture of the two of us together.
Let me
This
see.
is me, and I think he's got his thumbs up or something like that.
That's not
Just
him.
a picture of me and him standing up together
Okay.
somewhere.
Up right here.
There it is.
Yep.
Okay.
There
Yeah, so
we
that's
go.
Hal Blaine. That would have been probably sometime in the 90s.
Right. Okay.
Or
Wow.
probably 96, 97, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But Hal would, I saw an interview or heard an interview where he name checks Dennis as being one of the fine young drummers.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
oh.
Dennis got a chance to meet Bobby Graham, who was one of his heroes, and he was doing a show in England, and they brought Bobby Graham to the show,
Right.
and Dennis got to meet him afterwards and said, "Oh, could you hear a little bit of your influence in my playing?" And Bobby Graham turns to his wife and says, "What did I just tell you earlier?" And she said, "You sound more like him than anybody he's ever heard."
Wow. No kidding. Oh, really? Oh, wow. Wow.
Something on that order, like, it sounds like me.
Yeah.
And there's like, if you listen to early Kinks stuff,
Okay.
there's
Love the
like
Kinks.
a certain kind of da ba ba.
Yeah.
You can, and once in a while I'll hear Dennis do that. And I'm
Dennis
like,
do that.
Bobby Graham.
Yeah. See, it is interesting to see how you were, people were influenced by other musicians, other.
Yeah. I mean, I loved Ringo, loved Keith Moon.
Right.
Those were drummers I really. I came to appreciate John Bonham later. I wasn't a big Led Zeppelin fan, but I mean, at one point I had to learn. I think the song remains the same, and you're listening to his foot, and it's like, how does he do that?
Yeah.
So yeah. A lot of times in studying people's, especially when you're playing, that's one of the good things about playing in cover bands.
Right.
Is you get to learn what it is, because you have to learn how to play this stuff, and it's like, wow, this is really good.
Right. Right. What's so amazing is, and this is for me, for dancing, of course I basically was always in studio, in class,
Right.
And it absolutely amazes me when I watch these dancers that are pretty much, you want to say, street dancers.
Right. They just have the feel.
And they just have a feel, and they're just they're taking any music. Now you got to remember, for me, we would practically use the same music every week.
Right.
These guys can dance to anything.
Right.
And the same thing, when you have an artist that's, there are no words to explain,
There are, what happens, there are guitar players who are largely a product of, they just woodshed, they study everything, and they are just, so committed. I just ran into one of my friends who's like that, and he's, the whole time that he's been locked down, he said, "You want to hear what I'm going to be playing like when I come out again? Because, I've been woodshedding like crazy." And I'm like, I don't practice.
But you
like,
play so often that
right,
it
and
is practice. I mean, that's, it's.
And I'm about writing songs too.
Right.
That's a big thing. But then there are other people that, and I mean, kind of Jimi Hendrix fell into this category. I mean, obviously he worked hard at being Jimi Hendrix and becoming phenomenal,
Right.
but he also was just totally unique.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's something that you can woodshed until hell freezes over. Some people are just unique.
Well,
and they have a
right.
different bent, and their take on the instrument is just unique, and they have something fresh to bring to it.
Right, and it's interesting because I did read up a little bit on Jimi Hendrix, that you brought him up, and according to what I've read, he went nowhere without that guitar. That guitar was like
That was another limb.
another limb, exactly. Well
Right.
put, Chris. Yeah, and and it is interesting when you meet people like that. That is just such an extension of yourself. But you're kind of like,
in a way,
you are.
in a way.
You know,
different, but yes, it's
yeah.
true. I think there's people who probably wouldn't recognize me without a guitar.
No, well, I don't know about that, but you certainly your guitar is, you know,
That's a big part of my personality.
it is a big part of your personality. So let me just, before we go, because we do have just a minute or two.
Yeah.
So if anybody is interested in purchasing a CD or wants to hear more of your music, you're on YouTube? Are you on?
I'm on YouTube. There's actually, the band that played with me on the record, there is live footage of. It's either under my name, Chris or Christopher Bolger, or you can also find it under, the band was actually called the 413s. That was the band that I was in, that Dennis and Graham played with me, and the rest of the guys doing my music. And there's 2 different shows that we did at Maxwell's, and there's footage of those.
Okay.
And then there's also some random stuff. There's a clip of us at the cutting room, at the living room.
Okay.
Doing one of the songs that ended up on the record. There's all kinds of other random stuff there too, but that stuff, the Maxwell shows really, Steve Gechter's on one of them, and my dear friend Les Elfenbein played keyboard in the first of those 2 shows. And there's a great guitar player who accompanied me named Lance Doss. There's also another cool thing to find is there's actually us, the 413s, at the Edison Museum.
Oh, okay.
We did a live cylinder recording session there.
Oh, neat.
And Graham and Steve and Dennis and Michael Post, who I also played with a lot. Great guitar player. That was a lot of fun, and there's video footage of that at Edison Museum.
Oh, neat. Wow. All right, well, I want to thank Chris again for joining me.
Thank you.
I want everyone to be safe, and don't go stir crazy this winter.
You can still go out and walk.
That's right. Yeah, there's lots of things you can do. Anyway, thank you, everyone, and see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Donna's Happy Hour is filmed on location at the Blue Arrow Farm.
It's Donna's Happy Hour. It's Donna's Happy Hour. It's Donna's Happy Hour.